one of those things that when my husband found sobriety, or like sought it out, there was that part that for his drinking for those few years prior, there were so many times that I knew he was drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't prove it, but I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And his ability to convince me that my perception was wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
I would override what I knew to be true. I overrode
Mm-hmm.
my intuition. I overrode everything that I'm seeing and smelling and sensing. And that's where, when we had this crisis, we were very seriously talking about separation, because that was the one part that I had so much resentment toward
Yeah.
him for, was I let you. Well, at the time, the narrative was you made me question my own self. I'm finally trusting myself. And you made me question my own intuition, and I overrode it. And then that pivoted into I let myself doubt myself. I let my love for you, my adoration for you, my all of these things for you override what I knew to be true. My own perception of my own reality, I allowed to be called into question. And
Yeah.
that was a really hard thing for me to push through. Whereas, of course, we chose to rewrite our entire marriage, and thankfully, and, we're doing beautifully. It's that I think was so hard. And it was hard for me to forgive myself, because it got to this like massive point that was just atrocious. And now we look back and we still call it our crisis, but we lovingly call it our crisis. We're both so deeply grateful that we got rocked to our cores so that we could rebuild entirely new and different. And it sucks and it's shit that we have to get to that point. It's
But it
almost
was
like
needed.
it's almost like it has to meet or exceed our like upbringing level of betrayal, of upset, of just the
Mhm.
world ending, in order to like see that we can make it through.
So the other thing that I question too, and you articulate this so beautifully, but I question too if there was another part in you that didn't push it too hard because again, you might have been working off a narrative that if I push him too far, he will leave.
Yeah, I made so many empty threats. And in my
Mm.
brain, I was just like, good God, please don't make me. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I just need you to know how serious I am about this, but I
Right.
just really want you to change and meet me. And then once I started doing the work on myself, there was so much of I like threatening to end and hoping that he wouldn't take me up on it became a fucking try me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I told him around that time, I will raise my children with an alcoholic, 100%. I will not raise them with an active alcoholic. And then it became something new and completely different. And from there, everything kind of changed. And it's almost like he respected me more. He had
Imagine that.
respect
Because
for
you
me.
learned boundaries.
Yeah. And I just felt so disgusted by it. And it's wild how we will convince ourselves that what we think is safe actually puts us at harm.
Hmm.
And what I worry will push him away actually let him lean in. And
Yep.
it's a mind fuck, really.
Yeah, it is. But you guys
Yeah.
really have figured out the big pieces. And oftentimes avoidantly people are sort of characterized as being secretive. So it doesn't surprise me that he would, drink sort of incognito, like not let you know.
Yeah.
That was most likely fueled by shame. He already knew what he
Mhm.
was doing was wrong, and he didn't want you to reveal that to you because he
Yeah.
himself obviously already felt that there was something wrong in his behavior or defective, right?
Hmm.
Why am I drinking? Which, by the way, if we're talking about addictions, we see a large cohort of people addicted, alcohol, drugs, whatnot, who are avoidantly attached, and also who are anxiously attached.
Sure.
So the two camps of people are very interesting. Um, they both feel unsafe. They both have a core wound of I am unsafe. It's the only core wound that they share.
Mhm.
I am unsafe. But the anxious person generally overfeels, right? And they underthink, which means
Yeah.
they're over reliant on their emotional part of their brain and less rational, less logical.
Mm-hmm.
And the avoidant does the opposite, tends to over intellectualize and under feel. So they push their emotions down,
Yeah, and that's
right?
why I'd imagine people now when I'm talking to people, especially in my personal life, who lead more with their emotions, I'm just like, ugh, stop. Like there's just this part that I just like, it's so hard for me to tolerate now
It is.
that then I think I become less compassionate.
I think, once your eyes gets open to some of these things, I think you can, I don't think it's a lack of compassion. I think as you go through a process of healing and understanding yourself, you will require higher and higher degrees of authenticity from people around you.
Yeah.
And so when you see someone who's sort of emotionally volatile or doing too much to please you or what, it's not authentic. They're
Mhm.
doing it so that they can fill a particular need, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they really want your friendship for a particular reason. Maybe they feel lonely. Maybe they need, but it's not authentic,
Mm.
right? So that's what you're gonna need more and more is authenticity. You're gonna require it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a separate question that's been
Sure.
eating away at my soul for a while.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's any answer to this.
Oh
So
gosh.
and this is haven't really said this out loud very much
Okay.
in my life, but it's something that I have been wanting to address in general. And I'm not turning this into therapy. I think it's important for people to hear. I, with my elder son, we lost my brother unexpectedly when I was 7 months pregnant with him. And then my husband and I were really rocky. And of course, postpartum just fucking hit really hard.
Yeah.
And my son, when he was around 1, I just had no tolerance for coddling and no tolerance of like rocking him down to sleep and all of this. And I let him cry himself to sleep for 55 minutes before he passed out. And
How
so
many
what,
times did you let him cry it out?
like that once.
Okay.
The rest of the time we would do like cry it out, no, but like fuss around a little bit. And then I go in and like say hello. And then I leave again. And then I go in and say hello. And then I leave again.
I can see the pain that it causes you. My honest opinion is I think that's a story you've created in your head that
Okay.
you did this thing once and it's had this incredible impact and now you're
Oh,
suffering from that story.
yeah.
So I can tell you that the research would say that that's not true. Something
Okay.
has to repeat, many times to create a pattern, right?
Okay.
So one incident as such is not going to allow a child to develop a pattern of my mother's love was inconsistent,
Mm.
right? Like if it happened once, like
Well, and
so
it's of course like other things added in and like my just dysregulation and these types of things coming through. It's just more so he used to be secure and then he's not anymore. And I'm just like, what happened? Like, where'd
so
you go?
again, it's not a fixed state, right? So
Yeah.
he probably is secure, leaning anxious, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so at this point in time, if he's having a moment where he's expressing an emotion, the best thing you can do, and I think you're already doing this, is help him to try to identify the emotion. Where
Hmm.
does he feel it in his body,
Hmm.
right? And then say, okay, what are you thinking right now?
He's so sick of it though.
That's
Like
okay.
there's certain days I'm like, how are you feeling? Fine. Can you tell me something other than fine? Ugh, you always say that. I'm like, well, it's not
Okay, but
though, you
I
know?
know, listen, and it doesn't get better with boys, to be honest. My two boys
Right.
are in college, and I'm like, how's school? Fine. I mean,
Ugh.
yeah, so it's
My
boys.
anxiousness is it's so hard for me to tolerate.
I know.
Yeah.
It's boys, so we have to work with them. A couple of tricks that I found.
Yes, please.
Um, when you're speaking face to face with a young boy, that's not good. They don't like
Mm.
it. So
Okay.
one of the best things you can do is I would have the best talks with my sons when I was driving and they were sitting either in the back or as they were older, they're sitting next to me, but we're not face to face. We would go for a walk together. We're not face to face, we're side by side. Or my son, let's say, would be doing homework at the kitchen table and I was turned around, maybe I was stirring dinner. I'm not staring at him in
Mm.
the face because that requires a high degree of intimacy that can be threatening.
Oh, wow.
So the
Okay.
best conversations that you'll have will be where the two of you are present, but you're not. So try going for a walk where you're side by side. I don't know if you have a dog, take the dog for a walk,
Hmm. Yeah.
or and
This is
and
just making so much sense.
yeah.
And that's why like bedtime is usually where we're both laying down. We'll like look at the stars, go in, and then that's when he'll be like, "Hey, today this someone was kind of mean to me and this is what they said," and whatever
Yeah.
that is. And I'm like, "Oh, what?" Like immediately just like get up
So
and get
keep
back
looking at
on
the
top.
ceiling, keep looking, keep
Noted.
and and go, okay, how did that make you feel? Don't that instinct to turn, because what
Yeah.
you're trying to do is you're trying to build closeness with him. But
Yeah.
if he's if that's making him clam up, accept the cue, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so
Man.
try doing it in a way that is less intimate,
Sure.
right? Like the walk, the
Yeah.
car ride, that sort of thing.
Well, and what
Um,
we see a lot of parents saying is like, look at me, look at my face. Like when we're trying to like give a consequence or discipline or whatever
right.
that is, we see that constantly, right? So and we almost view the looking away as a sign of disrespect to some degree.
But that's a template. That's an interpretation,
Yeah.
right? So the son could be looking away because he's uncomfortable with the level of directness, and
Hmm.
you're interpreting it as disrespect because you have a core wound in you that from your childhood where you felt disrespected. And so
Hmm.
those core wounds that we have, they're like landmines that we carry. So
Yeah.
when someone steps on it or pushes that button or steps on the landmine, it creates an emotional response to you. But it's only because that button or that landmine was already in you.
Mm-hmm.
So the person who says, well, when my son looks away, he's being disrespectful. That's because they already have a wound of I am not respected. I can tell you clearly when my son looks away, I don't feel disrespected.
Yeah.
I have other wounds, but not that one.
No, I
So
mean it makes so much sense. Yeah,
yeah,
my son had told me a while back that he didn't like doing that because he said that he didn't like seeing me upset with him. Like he didn't like actually having a face to put to that experience. And so
okay,
now we just don't. And so
yeah,
now it's more so like we'll kind of like look down and like,
yep,
fidget or whatever that is and kind of allow for that. It's wild. I heard this thing a while back that you grow up with your first and you raise your second or any after that, and it just makes so much sense.
yeah, yeah, it really does. In fact, kudos to your son for being able to verbalize, mom, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like when we have face-to-face conversations. So, just a minor adjustment. Have your
Hmm.
conversations, but side by side, not face to face.
Yeah. Yeah, noted.
Yeah, and it'll make all the difference, I promise you.
Yeah,
And
and
this
here's why I'm listening.
Well, and this idea that that you created something because you let him cry and this and that, I would, work toward releasing that. That's a story you're telling yourself that is likely tied to a core wounds. Again, we see this very often in people who are anxiously attached, which is I am
Yeah.
not good enough. So it's possible that you're thinking you didn't do a good enough job as a mother, you made mistakes, which we all do, but because you might have that wound already in you, it's like it's pushing, and now you're creating a story to validate what you already believe to be true.
Which is also my like nightmare too, right? So
Yes.
it's yeah, I hear that. Damn.
So I would release
Hmm.
that one, that you created this situation because you let him cry for one time. And I mean, by what I hear you saying, you were there for your son. You did the best you could. You were consistent. Your son feels safe with you. That's all they really need.
Yeah. And the reason I shared that, especially here, that will be published is because I know how many parents feel that way. And especially because I'm doing anger management, what we end up kind of getting to the root of are so many of these kinds of stories that, and it's
Mhm.
guilt and it's shame and it's blame and all of these things that we have such a hard time forgiving ourselves for. And so I wanted to lead with
Yeah.
that and share that so that hopefully it will encourage other people to take your same advice and apply it to their
Yeah,
experience.
and so that's why I say when you're in these moments where you're feeling an emotion come up, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Try to bring it to your conscious awareness. Because what
Mhm.
happens is as humans, we are so talented at creating stories. When we don't have all the information, we fill in the blanks. Well, they must be angry because I didn't call them back. They must be angry. We just make stuff up,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then we convince ourselves it's true, and then we run with it.
Yeah.
So 9 out of 10 times, the story or the reason or the rationale that you've come up with is just simply wrong. But you're creating all this suffering for yourself. Like, think of the amount of suffering you've created for yourself because you think you've created something because you let him cry 6 years ago. Like, I mean,
It's so twisted. It's so ridiculous.
so now
And
that you can laugh about it, now that you're like, okay, I see the silliness,
yeah.
release it. And if the story comes back, comes back into repeats, on the playlist, you go, oh, hold on, we're not listening to this one anymore, and just delete it from the playlist.
Fair.
Like,